Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave answering some questions about my shop and my shop infrastructure for tested patrons. And today's question comes from Jamie VS, who says, in the past or present, how do you deal with other people using your shop who might not have the same affinity for order and proper tool use as you? That is I was going to say that is luckily a problem that I have not had to deal with. Now I'm examining why. I mean, that's a crazy sound out there. That's a far out sound. Anyway, today's question comes from Jamie VS, and he says, in the past or present, how do you deal with other people using your shop? What the hell is going on out there? Who might not have the same affinity for order and proper tool use as you. That's not really a problem that I have. I'm trying to figure out why. I mean, part of the reason is that I'm the boss, right? So like the people who come in here mostly are working with me and for me. My shop assistants have all been excellent. That's why they've been my shop assistants. They're all terrific at tool management and care and feeding of a shop. Same thing goes for all my tested compatriots who do come through here from time to time. Sean Charlesworth, Jen Schachter, might need to use a tool, and that is totally fine. So in terms of that respect thing, I don't, that would be difficult for me. If someone was coming in and using the shop improperly and leaving stuff in poor places. I mean, I do that, but I'm allowed. The other place that I've dealt with that is with my kids. Just a little bit, right? Because there was this, when they were really young, there's no way I'd let them in here alone, right? Because they just cut their hand off on the bandsaw. And then there's a point at which they're like 12, 13, 14. They're starting to get more competent. They're starting to, be able to deal with stuff. And each of my sons screwed up here and got caught. By that, I mean, both sons, had friends over in the cave to play pool without telling me. And I caught both of them just by accident. And as a parent, it is for me as a parent, it has been a careful moment when that happens, that kind of confrontation. A rule has been broken. I see it broken right in front of me. What do you do? And in the past, I feel lucky that I have not hit the roof for things like that. I view it as it's like a trust exercise. And the way I treated both kids when I caught each of them throwing parties, and at this point they were in 16 to 18 years old in that zone, 17 to 19, right around there. In both cases, I know that they're not hey, F dad, we don't care, woo! That's definitely not the thing that's going on. It's mostly just they don't want to bother me. And maybe they just didn't want the mental exercise of asking me to use the cave. But in each case, I caught them. And in each case, I was cool about it. I mean, it was you're going to have to wrap this up. But I wasn't yelly or angry. And that is really, I feel that strikes me as potentially one of the reasons that my sons both now treat this space with such great and loving respect. Thing 2 was in here last week, all evening with a couple of friends making some board for practicing climbing techniques. He's a rock climber. And he left the shop just delightfully lovely. The other one has been in here playing pool. And again, they both demonstrate a respect for the shop, but that was something that I kind of engendered in them. I didn't, maybe that's the thing that I'm saying with this story about catching them. I didn't force them to respect the shop. I worked with them to see how important it was to me, and thus they both treat this shop as an important thing. And That's delightful. I imagine that there are all sorts of different circumstances around the world. You may live in a building with a basement where a bunch of people share a shop. You may work in a collective artist space where the shop is cooperative. And that can be really difficult when somebody does not have the same proclivities that you do in terms of tool management and storage and neatness and cleanliness. That is a rough one. If you would be a maker, it is a really good idea to pay careful attention to your cleanliness when working around others. It's really specific. I know. I say this having been so famously shitty to work with for Jamie on Mythbusters. I leave his shop a total mess and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I know. I get it. Like, mea culpa. Yeah, mea maxima culpa. But you'd be wise to cultivate your neatness. Not necessarily, you don't have to be a neat freak. The goal is to not be so sloppy you're affecting somebody else's work. That's it. It's not about neatness. It's about lack of sloppiness. Yeah. If I had to do that, I imagine I would do the same thing I did with the boys, which would be to work with that person, to express to them what is important about the space and how I want to collaborate using it. I would use my words. Thank you, Jamie VS, for that lovely question. I'm not positive that I answered it, but it's an important question to be asking, and to look at how you respond to that question from both sides of the equation. Yeah, because we all have to work together. We all have to work together. Thank you, guys. Thank you, tested patrons, for these awesome questions. Keep submitting them. I will keep answering them, and I will see you guys next time.